Hello, my name is Adrian Larsen, and in this video we are going to see a new member of the Cloud Security Connector family for Zscaler Internet Access from Medical Bridge. In this case, we are going to present this new model that is for Google Cloud. At Medical Bridge, we created connectors for 5 years. 5 years ago, for Zscaler for different solutions. We did a solution for VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, and also we have solutions for Microsoft Azure. If you search Zscaler Internet Access, you will see our solutions for Microsoft. We have solutions for 1 gig, 2 gig on availability set, so availability zones. If you go to the marketplace on AWS and you put Zscaler Internet Access, you will see our product on top as well. It's a very, very popular product. And the product, if you're familiar with this for AWS, the Cloud Connector for Google Cloud is very, very, very similar product because both cloud support GeoRetals, in contrast that Microsoft Azure that is not capable. But in this case, the connector is very similar. Each connector has the capacity to create a tunnel to the primary send and to the secondary send and to check which node is active and to send the traffic via one or the other. The deployment of the connector need to be done the connector is a firewall and will isolate the traffic internal traffic from external traffic. And in the case of Google, you need to create a separate VPCs. This is the design of the cloud. You need to create when you have a VM with two VPCs, you need to create an external VPC and an internal VPC. And the connector has a VM with two interfaces. The connector has two interfaces, and then for this reason, we need to have two VPCs created. On each VPC, you can create your subnets, and in this case, the external subnet and internal subnet. On the internal side of the connector will present you three IPs. The first IP is the gateway IP. If you want to route all your traffic to Zscaler, simple, put this as a gateway, and that's it. Also, if you want to use pack files and you want to do bypasses from Zscaler, the connector will present two additional IPs, the VIP proxy and the bypass proxy. The VIP proxy is for the default traffic on the pack file, is when you want to send all traffic to Zscaler. And the bypass proxy is for the list of URLs you don't want to go via Zscaler. And then you point it here, and it will go directly to your trusted sites. Normally, you need to bypass URLs like login URLs of Microsoft for conditional access, Okta URLs, or any other site that is validating your source IP. Then there's three IPs on the inside of the connector will help you to have everything. Firewall in the cloud, to send traffic direct to Zscaler, or to bypass traffic from Zscaler. And additionally, when you deploy two connectors on high availability pair, we are going to show you here, the connector has the intelligence to manage the default gateway for the routes, and you can configure multiple routes and say this on this configuration, and you can and the connector will manage the gateway via one or the other, depending which one is active. And additionally, even if you have a gateway via one connector or other connector for firewall connection for all important protocols, you still are able to use pack files and to do a little trick with the pack file to use both connectors at the same time. Then you can duplicate your traffic to Zscaler. It's an active passive configuration, but for web traffic is active, and you can send both at the same time. Well, or you can use both at the same time. Well, let's start from the beginning. Which are the prerequisites that we need in order to deploy the Google Cloud Connector? In order to deploy, you the best go to the documentation here. And if you go to support.maidenheadbridge.com, you will redirect it here. And here you have the documentation for Google Cloud. Let's open this. This is the manual, some speeching, and here the prerequisites. The prerequisites are very simple. You need to have an SSH key to deploy the connector, to have already created a VPC, an external network, an internal network. That's it. 3 things. Having this ready, the next is, let me put this bigger. Oop, too big. Then 3 prerequisites. Then after you have this ready, in my case, I have this VPC that will use this VPC with this subnet, external for the external, and I will use this internal subnet from this VPC to deploy the connector. Deploy the connector, if you go to the Google Marketplace, this is the preview, but you will see on the public marketplace soon. Then you need to click on launch. Yeah. Select, of course, your project. Let's put a name, ZSE Gcloud VM. Select the zone you want to run the connector. I'm going to run the connector on this zone. That's Europe West, because it is where are my VPCs. This is important. You need to check the region that you have working for the VPCs, for everything. It's much better to have it clean. And now, next step. You can select the machine. This is the recommended machine. SSH key is one of the values. On the manual, we show how to create SSH key. Here, it's all about to go to a Linux box and to create this, to run this command, and that will create your SSH key. It will create the public key and the private key. In my case, I created the private key, and I already did it here. Then when I do a cut of the public key, this is my public key. I will copy, and I will back to the deployment, and that's it. Copy here. Region of my VPC is Europe West 2. My external network is, sorry, let me recheck this. This on West 2. Sorry, I'm on the wrong project. I'm in the right project. Sorry. Let's put let's paste my key here, and now, yeah, I have my VPC that I will use this DMC external, and here I have my VPC that I will use the internal. And after, yes, select the project, be sure that you're in the right place, and deploy. The deployment is going to create multiple things here. This firewall rules is going to create the addresses. And one important point is on firewall rules, we create a particular tag for the instance for firewall rules. Then all the firewall rules created here are for this particular instance. Then it will not affect the rest, right? But it will keep your environment very, very secure. There is all rules that are needed for the internal interface and external interface are created here. Well, we have the deployment done. And then we can go to our platform. Now we have this instance here. And the first we need to check is which is the primary internal IP of the internal interface. The connector can be only accessed via the internal interface. Okay. I need to click here, this one. Let's back to my machine, and I will put SSH CSC key, and the user is CSC admin, and paste to the host. The first, yes. Okay, it's still loading. We will need to wait a little bit to connect to the connector. Okay, I will pause the video for a moment. Okay, let's try again. Okay, and this is the initial configuration of the connector. In this case, well, when you have this is the initial screen, you need to run this wizard. And what you need to do is, this is your tunnel source IP. Then you need to go to Zscaler now to ask for open a support ticket and to ask for GRE credentials in order to fill these values here. When you open a ticket in response, you will receive these values, primary destination, secondary, all these values. But these are the values you need to put on the connector to have this work. And also the pack file URL, if you bypass pack, I will explain it in a minute. And the syslog if you want. That's it. When you finish this configuration, it's the only that you need to put in the connector. And it's explained on the manual. Select the networks, click on launch, put the values, blah 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 blah, and done. Every it's all the detail, and this is the initial wizard. But it's very easy to do. I'm not going to open a ticket, but it's all about to fill these values and to follow the wizard. Then let's move on to a couple of connectors that I have already created on the platform. Okay, let's take a look of this. Two connectors. It's two connector H and B with this public IP 3680 on my Zscaler portal. Of course, you need to create a location. Then after you receive this email, the best thing to do is to create a location first. Then in order to create a location, you need to go to administration, location management, and I have it already created. But this is my location, and you need to select the static IPs of the connector. As you can see, I have here the credentials, and I put values for the location. With the location created and the wizard, after you run the wizard, everything is ready, and you will be able to get into the connector. As soon as you SSH the connector, you will receive this screen, and if you do one show configuration status, it will show everything about the information. The IPs of the tunnel, the external interface, internal interface IPs, how to redirect the traffic to Zscaler, the VIP proxy, the bypass proxy, the statuses of the tunnel. You have if a tunnel layer 7 keep alive, or tunnel keep alive are alive, when it was starting working, and other information, the IP Zscaler.com page status. Then you have a complete information here, and also AWS. This connector has other connector, the VMware or Hyper-V or on any cloud can be managed using the AWS SCCM agent. And finally, the logs. And we are going to configure the high availability section in a minute. Then let's do a quick check. We have in this demonstration, I have already logged in. This is the same connector than before, but it's showing the traffic interface. And also I have a machine here in the back that is here with this GUI. And this machine is already connected via these connectors. I created in advance three routes that are going with these destinations and these tags that are using this 14 as default gateway. If I check on my devices, you will see that the 14 is this, the B. Okay, there I'm using one connector as default gateway at the moment. When you have a single connector, this is what you need to do: create a route and put the route via the connector gateway IP. This connector is here. This is the B, the connector B, and it's here. And we're using it as default gateway to the internet at the moment. As you can see, we are pointing to this IP, CSC gateway IP. Now, this is already with. This is the reason why it's the gateway. It's already with the configuration. Good. But I will show you in the other one how to do it. The high availability configuration. Let's take a look here. If I do ipscaler.com, I'm using Zscaler. If I check connection quality, yeah, do a test. In general, the performance is very, very good from AWS, from Google Cloud. This machine has already attached a back file. Then if I try to use the back file, change here the proxy, you can use back files here. And the machine will work with the back file as well. To connection quality. This is using the back file. Then in both cases, you can use direct or back file. I will explain a little bit about the back file in a minute. Let's go now to understand how to configure high availability on the connector that is not already done. The connector has also different tests here that you can do: trace route, the speed test. For example, if you run the speed test here on this number one, you can see the traffic on the tunnel. This is quite it's more than 1 gig in general. And you can see upload, download traffic. Well, upload traffic doesn't work very well on the speed test now. It depends of the node. Speed test is doing an upload of an upgrade of the nodes. Then the download works, but the upload speed sometimes will show very low values, but nothing we can do. It's a speed test problem. On here, of course, you can run other tests if you want to test the speed and to check how much is the speed. You can use fast.com. This test always when this ending is going down. I don't know why, but it's a good indicator of the traffic on the connector. It's just working on this one. Now it's doing the upload. It's doing the upload here. Okay, let's move on now. We are going to configure the high availability. At the moment, we have this connector with the high availability with configuration. We are going to configure this connector number 8. The configuration of high availability is very similar to AWS and it's very easy to do. And you need to run the high availability wizard to tell if you want to configure the values. This is the change. I'm in the wrong. This one. Do you want to configure the values? They say yes. Then I want to tell the connector with route name I want to manage. I want to manage this one. Default servers. The connector is going to pick up the values and to retrieve the route and to read. That's good. Next, I want to add another route. Yeah, that's default VDI. Yes, I want another one that is default to Zscaler. The good to have, because sometimes you need to do routes for a specific tag, then it's good to have the option to manage multiple routes and not only one. Then you can do as many routes as one. Some of them, for example, this one, they say default servers. This is the destination. It's not the default. It's not the internet. It is the Zscaler global gateway IP. Because sometimes on servers you want to put the explicit proxy. It's the only option. There is no option of backfiles, nothing, or you don't want to send all traffic to Zscaler, but you want to put explicit proxy for some specific applications. Then in that case, you can put explicit proxy on the server, and through this high availability routing, this destination global gateway will go via one or the other connector automatically for you, providing high availability for explicit proxy. That is very hard to achieve, right? You need to have something smart that is capable to change the route, and the connector is the tool. Then I added the other route. Now I need to tell the connector the instance name of the other one. Okay, then I have here the other one, and the instance name is the B. And I need to tell the zone where is this device. Oops. This is my zone. Of course, you can get the value from the console. And I say, okay, this is the 3 routes you are going to manage. This is the other CSE and the pair. Do you want to play change? Yes. And that's it. This is the only that you need to do. Now the 2 connectors, the A and B, are on high availability pair. In this demo, with the only one, but you need to do both connectors, and the connector we will talk each other, and we will check the statuses, and I will say which one is active and which one is passive. In this case, we have that the next hop is the other CSE on the pair, because it was active previously. This is about to routing traffic. Then now we have all automatic selection for gateways. In the case you want to bypass traffic, it's the same that the other connectors of our family. Suppose I want to bypass this list of URLs from Zscaler because I want to do conditional access. I want to avoid a multi-factor authentication for the virtual desktops on my cloud service, for example, or whatever URLs. Then you need to create a pack file with this format on your Zscaler console. And I'll show my pack file here for this Google Cloud. And this is the pack file. This is the content of the pack file. And this is the URL of the pack file. And this URL you need to configure on each connector. If I check here on bypass list, if you put manually and I configure the bypass URL, I have it already configured here, but I can do a change bypass URL. There is the new one, and to refresh the bypass list. And the connector is going to the Zscaler Cloud and downloading the information. And that's it. Now the bypass list is updated. You can see your list of bypasses here. The next task you need to do is to create another pack file. This is for your PC servers. And in this case, this is the standard pack file for Zscaler. You need to add this section for the bypasses here. And one thing we mentioned at the beginning was that with a little trick on the pack file, you can use both connectors at the same time for web traffic and to duplicate the traffic to Zscaler. Then this section is for, as you can see, this section we're using a variable here, bypass proxy. And for default, the return traffic we're using another variable is to Zscaler. And what we are doing is in this section 2 of the path file, the first section is the standard section, do not send private IPs to Zscaler, blah, blah, blah. This is standard section for CPA. And section 2, we are manipulating the two Zscaler and bypass proxy variables. And what we're doing is we are reading the IP of the device, the virtual machine or the virtual desktop. And depending if the machine is odd or even, it will have one connector as a primary. This is the VIP proxy of the connector. You can see this odd will have this connector 9 as first, and the even will have the 9 as a secondary. The even we have the 12 as primary and the secondary one. Then with this little trick, you can do a lot of balancing per source IP and to duplicate the traffic to Zscaler. Then this is the end of this video. I will do a quick review. We strongly recommend to put in high availability. The connector will be able to manage the gateway to Zscaler, firewall in the cloud, all port and protocols protected via the cloud. The connector will offer the VIP proxy and bypass proxy. Then using pack files, you will be able to duplicate your traffic to use both at the same time with this trick of odd even IPs. The connector will have the intelligence to switch between primary, secondary, providing the entire high availability in terms of data centers. And it's very easy to launch. As you can see, the requirements are minimal. The only that you need to have it ready is the VM interface, external internal interface, and to have one SSH key, and that's it. The prerequisite is minimal, and the rest is a piece of cake to configure. It's just a wizard to put the values of the tunnel, and a wizard to select which routes you want to manage via the connector. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for your time. Any question do you have, or any doubts, or anything you need, please go to support.maydaybridge.com, open a ticket, log in here, open a ticket, and we will answer your questions. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good day.